Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel's Finding Value. Today we're going to do our commodities update, get a good look at a wide array of different commodities. We'll take a look at the dollar, 10-year yield. I'll give you my financial opinion, and we'll just dive right in there and get into the dollar. So the dollar, DXY, relative strength indicator. Again, a little bit weaker today. We are still in this kind of uptrend type move. In the short term, we could get back somewhere in this level before heading lower again. We've got a little bloody nose today. That's what I call it. It's a small down day with next to a very large up candlestick. And overall, I don't think this is going to matter too much in the short term because I think we're going to eventually work our way lower, and it will be a tailwind. Just like the other bull markets and commodities, it'll be a tailwind to our commodity bull market when the dollar or DXY goes lower. The 10-year yield, we're getting that bloody nose again, large up movements, small down movements in the 10-year yield. That usually works its way higher. And we are squeezed between a couple of different support resistance lines, resistance line here and the support line underneath, and we're squeezing up between those two. I don't think we're in some recessionary problem where the 10-year yield just falls out. We're not seeing that. So I think that could potentially be behind us even, and that we've got some strength coming up where we could go higher in the 10-year yield. Looking at commodities, it is getting a little bit of buying pressure. We came in and now we want to see if this thing can extend upward and put some bigger movements upward for the CRB index. Broken down trend line looks good, and it looks good like it wants to move higher for the CRB. Gold is looking fantastic. It's looking good. Gold usually does well on weaker dollar and a weaker 10-year yield. Can this continue? We'll find out, but we've broken out of this pattern to the upside, and we could see a nice big run here in gold, and it's behaving quite well. Silver also is killing it. Nice big bullish engulfing. We had the break through the downtrend line, small selling pressure, and now another big move higher. This momentum could continue here. It's looking very strong for silver. If we were to take kind of a bigger picture view on silver here, we basically came down and touched this support line in the white line. We hit our head on that or hit our feet on that. Now we're starting to jump up and away from that support level. So silver looks fantastic. Platinum also looking good. We're not broken out of this pattern yet. We're still inside of it. We got to break that downtrend line, and then we'll see where we go from there. We've got the XAU to gold ratio. That has broken its downtrend line. We are getting a little bit of buying pressure today. So the gold and silver mining companies are going to outperform gold if this momentum can continue. So looking at SILJ, which is the silver junior miners, looks fantastic. Broken downtrend line. We're heading higher. That looks great. And GDX is also looking great. Broken downtrend line. We're starting to work our way higher. It doesn't mean that we just go straight higher. We very well could pull back a little bit before moving on up. We could chop sideways for a little bit. The path isn't necessarily known, but usually you break a downtrend, it starts heading higher. Looking at this from a little bit longer term perspective, we do have this resistance line coming through here that we're going to have to break back above at $30 or so. So that's gold and silver there. Now crude oil, man, this thing is volatile. We're at this long-term resistance line. You can kind of see that in the background there. You'll see it, we zoom in. We're right on that resistance line. We bounced off the resistance line today. We're up 1.66%. They are trying to, the Federal Reserve, government, everyone in their world's trying to manipulate this price, it seems like. Strategic Petroleum Reserve releases worldwide. I think they're playing with the data, demand data. But overall, the supply is really constrained and the demand is very strong. We do need to break back above the 93.50-ish level. Once we break and close above that, then I think we're going higher. I don't think we're going to go lower because they're doing everything in their power to try to push this thing lower. If they get this lower, it will be temporary and we'll shoot back up with vengeance because it'll all be short-term strategic petroleum reserve releases or playing with data. Whatever it is, it's not going to be a long-term solution. Natural gas getting a little bit more selling pressure. Are we going to come back into this vicinity? I hope we do. Because I'm a buyer down here. If we get anywhere down here, I will be a big buyer in natural gas stocks. I'm seeing some of these stocks. They're being a little bit resilient. We're getting a little bit of a pullback in some of them that are more natural gas based. But I do hope we get a nice good pullback here back to even this level at 540 would be great, or even maybe back all the way to 460 or so. That would be one heck of an entry point. And I will let everyone know on the Finding Value website, Platinum membership, on what companies I am buying if that were to happen. Looking at XOP, yeah, you know me. We're looking for buying pressure. We've got these two selling pressure days, and we answered back with a nice big bullish piercing. That usually resolves itself higher, but the bounce here hasn't been that strong today. Which way is this thing? Are we going to roll back over and head lower? Are the buyers going to come in tomorrow and put a big fat candlestick higher? That's yet to be seen. Bigger picture view, though, we are sitting on top of a bunch of support. If we were to come back here down to the 110 range, or maybe that's more 105 range, somewhere in that range, a huge buying opportunity. That's what I see. I don't think they've solved the problems in natural gas and crude. I think we've got a full-blown energy crisis on our hands. And there's going to be a lot of opportunities there for investment. Energy service also remaining quite low. It was a small update today. I think this is really good on this trend line here. This looks good in this general vicinity. That's OIH for ETFs. And there are companies to play this in the energy service sector that I think are really good that I've shared with the Platinum members. Looking at uranium. This is the uranium futures prices. We are moving sideways for the most part. What that means is we're consolidating, coming to a dead period. And usually what happens, we come to a dead period and then we get this big old break and a run. I like buying before the breaks and the runs. We're in an energy crisis. I think we're breaking to the upside in uranium. They're going to start extending nuclear power plants. And that's where I think there's going to be a big opportunity. If there is an opportunity, you'd see the mining companies start to run. So this is Sprott Physical Uranium Trust. That is going to move higher. We've got a nice good bullish engulfing, nice big buying pressure to small selling pressure. Ratio looks good. Broken down trend line. That all looks good to go higher. URNM is also traveling higher here. We got a little bit of a wick at the top. That does mean there was some selling pressure throughout the day. Nonetheless, though, we've broken the downtrend of that pattern there. We put a nice good bullish engulfing. We get another bullish engulfing. Could we have a small down day tomorrow? It's possible, but more than likely we're going to resolve ourselves higher over time. The path is not known, but the pressure is definitely and is upward, and the momentum. And just looking at CCJ, that also's got a little bloody nose. That's usually a continuation pattern to the upside. The sellers aren't ripping it here. The buyers are. So buyers are in control. And most of the sector looks pretty strong today. Looking at TAN, getting the TAN. We've broken the big downtrend line. Actually, there's the big downtrend line. We've got support going across here. This side mimics this side, and we're breaking that to the upside. I think that this will eventually work its way to the upside over time. Money flows are coming into this thing. And we can see that in a lot of the stocks. COPX, this is copper. Copper's looking like it's getting a bid. It's looking stronger. It looks like the people are getting a little bit more, we'll call it, the sentiment is changing against the economy. We're at support down here. That's a good spot to be looking, in my opinion, for a lot of the companies that deal with copper. So I think it looks really good. This is my symmetrical line. If I were to do a bars chart and then flip it over, it looks this side looks very similar to what this side's starting to look like. So that's copper there. Scrolling down, look at the REMX ETF. This looks like we're getting a nice good bounce off that support line. This is another one that we were playing on the website. It was down here. We're getting that nice good buying pressure support moving higher. We also have lithium. That guy's broken out. Could it pull back before heading higher? Very well could. More than likely, we're going to continue the momentum up over time and work our way higher. So there's that one. The S&P 500. That is broken the downtrend. We're getting a little bit of selling pressure today. Is this a turning point where we could head lower? It's possible. It's not necessarily a strong reversal candlestick or anything like that. So we'll see what happens for the S&P 500 there. The U.S. Composite Index also getting that little wick at the top, little red day. Broken downtrend line. We've come into an upward move. We could have a little bit of a downward move before heading higher. I do think this is a relief rally, and eventually this will roll over and turn lower eventually. I don't know if it's going to turn lower at this exact point. We are hitting some resistance. There's some resistance there through here, and that's your resistance there. So we could be coming up basically to this neckline, hitting it, and then heading lower. It's a possibility. So that's where we're at there. I'm definitely not playing this move in the NASDAQ or S&P 500. I'm just staying out of it altogether and staying long commodities. EEM, this usually does well with a declining dollar. We have a little bit of a declining dollar. We're right on top of its pattern. We've broken to the upside. This looks good to me to go higher for emerging markets. XHB, this is the home builders ETF or index. I'm using it as an index. It's an ETF. This also has broken its downtrend line. We're right up, kind of coming against some resistance through here. That's your resistance. But we got to break through that and head higher. It's looking good at the moment for the home builders. Lumber has just taken off here, 8.3%. It's got some support down here. Looks like that wants to go higher for lumber, which is good for the home builders and the lumber price going up, kind of matching each other and seeing strength in both of them. Rolling through some of these other ones like cocoa, that is coming up to a break here. And that's looking a lot better. I'm going off the closing prices of these guys here. I cut one off, but that's right at a resistance line ready to break to the upside. Wheat is definitely looking good. We've broken the downtrend line. We're at support. That's exactly where I look for potential opportunities. That support line is this long-term trend line that we've got going across here. I'm not playing it by anything, but that's where I would look. Soybeans just moving sideways. It looks like the buyers are starting to take control of soybean futures to turn it higher. And then we've got corn futures, which are just moving sideways. I don't see a clear path on corn at this time. It's mainly the buyers and sellers duking it out back and forth. Eventually, I think this will find some sort of direction here. We just have to see which direction that is. Here is copper. Copper has broken its downtrend. It is finding support and moving higher. That's looking a lot better. Is this going to move lower in the short term? Usually what happens is you come in, you get this relief rally, and it goes back down. Is this roughly the same thing? I'm not exactly sure. We're going to have to wait and see what the buyers do here. But overall, with the downtrends being broken and looking at a lot of the companies, the mining companies, they look like they want to go higher. So I'm inclined to think that this could go higher over the medium term. Looking at MOO, this is one, the VanEck Agribusiness ETF. If you want to look for some companies that play all those corn, wheat, and all this other stuff, it's a broken downtrend line. We've got a bullish setup here, small selling pressure, bullish engulfing with a bloody nose. That looks like it wants to go higher. So that's MOO, and everything looks good for MOO to go higher. We also have that pattern where it goes like this. You get the one, we might have one last little thing like that, and then we roll on higher. That usually occurs right before a big move. Well, there's our mid stride. This does look good to go higher for MOO. It does look good. Scrolling on down, looking at aluminum. Aluminum did move higher today. We're finding support right where it's at. And this might be a good entry point for some companies that deal with aluminum. Now, a lot of the companies that are in aluminum aren't extracting the aluminum. They are processing it, which is very energy intensive. Those companies may or may not be good bets. In the short term, they may be okay with natural gas and oil pulling back. But in a medium to long term, they may get smoked because of energy prices. So I've been very hesitant to get into a lot of the aluminum companies in any sort of big way because of the energy input costs. And then we also have the Baltic Dry Index. It is breaking down below its support level. We have to see if this thing comes back up higher, much like it did down here. And I'll try to get someone on that's got a little bit more shipping experience than me, ask him some questions, and talk about shipping and get his input on what he thinks is going to go down in the shipping cycle. But overall, guys, uranium looks really strong. Precious metals looks really strong. I think oil and the demand supply of oil looks really strong. We just had short-term weakness in oil and natural gas. That could continue into the fall of 2022. Winter timeframe, though, I think we're going to see a big move in oil and possibly natural gas. So I am remaining long in all of my positions, energy service companies, all these things, even shipping. I'm remaining long. There's no point for me to be trying to time the short-term movements. We've got a lot of playing around with the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, trying to, I call it, manipulate prices to some extent. But I don't think that's going to last and be at all sustaining for any length of period of time measured in months or years. But that's where I'm at. If you guys like this analysis, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the website, Platinum membership. We have gone over a bunch of companies this past weekend. I've got a lot of midweek updates. You can see what I'm buying, where I'm buying it. A lot of them have performed quite well here. They've gone up quite a bit. So I'm looking at other companies. We'll do another midweek update here Wednesday on what I think that looks good, and it's probably going to be a different set of companies because some of these companies have gone up quite a bit. Some of them are up almost 100% since we were talking about them in only a few weeks, months' time. So they have had strong bounces, and I shift my preferences not to those that are performing necessarily well, but to those that are still of a good opportunity and value. So you'll see that coming up at some point here Wednesday. I'll do a video with it, and I'll let you guys know what I think the best opportunities are and where I'm going to be deploying money. All right, guys. Hopefully you're having a good day. We'll catch you next time. This is Finding Value.